want to talk about. I know we're going to talk about the tour next year, but I want to talk about it right now because the one-off show in the other side of the world is such a bold move. It's a long way to come for one show.
I know, yeah, it really is. One small show too, smaller than usual. Yeah, it's not that small. But,
what was the catalyst? I mean, obviously you were here like last year, 1 year ago.
I mean, any excuse to come to Australia is good. You know, we love it here. I know that I think the record label wanted us to do some press.
Okay.
Here we are. So and then let's do a show. Let's make it worthwhile.
Hell yeah.
I suppose if you're coming out to do some promotion to the album and all that sort of stuff, then while you're here, why not do it?
Yeah.
Two birds, one stone.
Yeah, it gave us a chance to talk about the new record here in Australia in person, which we wanted to do, play a small show, which is always fun, and also let people know about that we're coming back next year and do it too.
Yeah.
I saw all the people when you announced the show, everyone's like, they're playing Good Things. They're not doing one show. They'll be on Good Things, and then you're all, see you next year.
We have done Good Things in the past. It's a great festival. Yeah, we enjoy it. But we want to come back in and do our own headlining thing this time.
And the biggest shows you've done in Australia. That's
what I'm
cool,
hearing.
man.
Yeah, that's cool. It'll be us and Simple Plan. I don't know if there'll be like a local band opening up. Hopefully, but.
I mean, I'm available if you guys...
Yeah, right.
And the shows only get better as time goes on if it starts.
So, fun fact, my bass player is actually emceeing your crowbar party tonight, and he imports the hot sauce.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. Yeah, small world.
Nice.
Joel. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, you're only like 2 degrees of separation in Australia. There's not many of us here.
Yeah.
Especially in the punk scene.
Yeah.
I feel like we're
Seriously,
between.
I know. You know how often I hear that. Oh, I know so and so. I'm hearing that though. It's rad.
It's cool though because it's like it still keeps that punk rock ethos, that whole community feel, which I think is really good. That's one of the best parts about Australia because it is. Well, I mean, like it's not small, but you know the East Coast is very sort of tight knit. That's where all the tours happen, and everyone kind of crosses paths, and everyone in this scene crosses paths. And I think it's a really cool thing to have that kind of camaraderie in the punk scene, which other scenes don't have.
Yeah, I went to Pearl Jam last night just because we happened to be in town and I had an in. And one of our old tour managers, Nick Tischler, was hanging out. He was working with Pearl Jam last night.
Wow.
And we haven't worked with him in probably 15 years.
Yeah, right.
So it was great to just cross paths, like you said.
Cool world, yeah.
I feel like you guys have been coming here long enough now, over such a long career, that it's always a cool opportunity to catch up with people that you only get to see once every few years as well. Do you have a little black book of people that you're like, need to make sure I see that person this time, need to make sure I see that person?
I should, because my memory sucks, so I should write this shit down.
Just work it out.
Yeah.
You've got that as an excuse when you don't see them. Oh, sorry, I didn't have my book with me.
Yeah.
There is something to be said for like 30 plus years coming to the country, because you guys have been out here many, many times. There's a lot of people to catch up with. What's the secret to maintaining the friendships? Because you guys obviously like been in a band together forever. Yeah. What's your go-to to maintain friendships over that time frame? Because we struggle seeing each other every day. I can't imagine how you guys have done
It's only been 15 years for us as well. It's
Well,
fine.
don't share a bathroom.
Yeah, no,
Definitely. Yeah.
definitely.
I learned that instantly with him, so yeah.
He got real quiet when you said that, so I think I don't
No, I'm probably the worst offender. Yeah, I'll take that. I think, we love doing what we do. We love traveling the world. We love talking to people. We love traveling the world. We love playing shows. So that keeps it fun and fresh. When we do need some time apart, like we do, we go our own ways, on a day off. A lot of times I'll just hibernate in my room or just go for a walk on my own and just kind of walk through whatever city I'm in. And so we know how to be there, when we need to be there. And then there's times when, for no reason, let's go hang out and have drinks.
Yeah.
How, like, obviously you've got a very iconic look as well, and you're both very recognizable, especially in the scene. How hard does that become, though? I'm just going to take myself through a leisurely walk through Sydney. Like, surely you must get recognized a lot of the time.
It hasn't happened yet. I've done a couple of walks through the city, but big cities are kind of, kind of cool. Like, oh, hey, there's that guy.
Yeah.
I did get recognized. I did a photo the other day, but most people are really nice.
Don't overstep the boundaries too much.
You were my first concert.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, right.
That's a reflection of you guys. I feel like the fans that give you that interaction is because of the vibe that you guys give. Like, you've always had this really fun, friendly, positive outlook, and I feel that's reflected in like the people that would come up to you. You're not going to get aggressive dickheads, because that's not the type of people you are and the type of music you play.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
The weirdest thing is when you see somebody and they're doing this. They have their phone and they're googling
to make sure it's you.
and they come up and like, Dexter, fuck.
And then excuse me, Brian Holland? No. How did you fuck that up? I saw you googling it and you still didn't get it right. Yeah, but I don't take the piss a little bit, but I don't want to be too big of a dick. They're fans, so I'm flattered.
I've only ever had that happen to me once with what we do, and it happened in my local Subway. And I saw the guy talking to his girl, looking over, and he was like looking on his phone. And as he tilted it to her, like, to say, I think it's him, I saw they had our channel up,
And
and
could
I'm
they
like,
be any more obvious?
yeah, right. Yeah, no one
Seriously.
because no one goes to Subway here.
Yeah.
I like the guy in the restaurant now. This is the new thing. I think they're like this. They're kind of like, like they're looking at themselves, but they're really filming
Getting
you.
your-
Yeah.
You're sitting in the back.
Is that when, is that,
selfie with him?
is that when you
Yeah.
just walk closer to them and go, look, dude, I'm out of focus. If you're going to put that shit on the internet, at least make sure I look good.
The lighting's better here for me. Yeah.
So
Is there any pressure to like hold conversation? Because that's something that when people come and meet their idols, sometimes they're like, oh, I've loved you guys for years, and then they don't know what to say. Do you feel any pressure to like encourage and continue conversation, or are you happy to just kind of be like, nice to meet you, leave it there?
I don't know if it's pressure, but I'll like, where are you from? I'll ask a couple questions, that sort of thing. My wife and I did a vacation in Iceland with our son, and I got recognized like 3 different times walking through Reykjavik.
Of course.
But it wasn't Icelanders. It was a guy from Brazil, a guy from France, and some Canadian couple.
Okay.
And so when they do kind of stumble, I'll just kind of keep it going a little bit, but I don't want to. Let's go have coffee.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Sure.
I'm going somewhere. I've got a plan usually.
Brazil. Come to Brazil. Is that based on comments? Is that from getting people asking you to come to Brazil?
For sure, yeah.
I relate to that so hard. I was saying, I feel like social media is what I do.
Do you get that?
And every day,
You have a lot
the
of
Brazilian people are
Brazilian
so passionate. And as soon as I saw that in the track listing before I heard the song, I was like, that has to be something to do with social media.
Oh yeah.
I
For
love
sure.
that.
It's not even just our band. Like you said, it happens to you, and it's become a social meme, right? And
Yeah.
we have to write a song about this.
I love that you did.
There's a
Instantly.
singer-songwriter guy I like, mostly plays acoustic guitar, called the White Buffalo. And I heard him recently talking about how anytime he posts something, all the Brazilian fans say, come to Brazil, come to Brazil.
Yeah.
So it's everybody. It's a universal phenomenon.
There's
So
such-
are you going to Brazil?
We are going to
Never
Brazil.
again.
Yes.
And that's the only place we'll ever be able to play that song live, I think.
Yeah.
You know what though? That's going to end up becoming like a cult classic. That's going to become a cultural thing where they're just going to be like going for it.
Well, I
And then
hope
you
you're
can't
right.
play it
I
anywhere
hope
else
you're
because they'll just be like, fuck you.
We were told there's a big Brazilian population in Perth, so maybe we'll have to play it in Perth.
Maybe Perth.
Yeah.
Just, the small pockets are in the world. You can,
Perth
Yeah.
are happy to get any show at this stage.
this songs will go off.
I know there's a lot of Brazilians in Hawaii too. I think the surfing community. There's a lot of big surfing.
Oh, that makes
community
sense.
from the sea. That might be where they're in Western Oz as well.
Now, speaking about songs that you play live, you're dropping another album. Is it out now? It's out now. It
Way to
is.
do the homework.
Yeah.
Good work. Yeah.
I feel like this
We'll,
album's
we'll have the
dropping
conversation.
everywhere.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song of it?
I feel like every time you drop a slab of 10, 12, 13 songs, it just gets harder and harder and harder. Because obviously you're going to be back doing a headline tour next year. So it's probably going to be relatively long set. How many of the new songs are you going to try and squeeze in? Because obviously you guys have got a lot of bands, in the heavy scene. I suppose they don't have hits per se, but you guys have bona fide hits.
All the hits, you could say.
Yeah, basically. And you can make it easily a 2-hour plus set with the songs that you guys have had that have been hits on mainstream radio. How hard is it going to be to work some of those out and some of the new ones in?
Yeah, that's the hardest part of our job, I think. Is cutting songs. Which songs do we cut? Because we can definitely fill a 2-hour set if we wanted to. And and we know that if cutting, especially like the album tracks, we're cutting somebody's favorite song every night. But what do you know? What's we want to play? 8 hours.
Nobody's selling millions of records anymore, obviously. But I think that's led to some bands where a new album's an excuse to go on tour, right? And we don't feel like that at all. Like we put our heart and soul into this record, and we're so proud of it that I want to play the whole thing. Right?
Yeah.
So we're going to really figure out a way to play a bunch of them. We'll extend the set, or I don't know. I was joking around and said maybe we should do medleys. You know, like,
It's become a pretty popular thing. Like,
Is that right?
Yeah. Like the older songs. Like we recently just saw Parkway Drive as they've progressed and their sounds changed and their styles evolved. They put 6 or 7 of those older songs together, and it does work. So
Okay,
there's an idea.
Possible, yeah.
I don't think it's going to work for you guys. I don't want to shit on the idea, but people want to hear the whole song.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, there's that one riff that we really like. It's the whole thing.
That's
There's a
right.
sing-along factor. That's the way your
it's a
song
rock
is
show.
written.
That's right.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, if they get a verse and chorus of a couple of songs, maybe it'll
something there.
We could be out of here in like
It'll
20
heal
minutes.
some
It's great. You heard them all.
The whole set's a medley.
Don't forget to buy a
Did
shirt.
we just get ripped off?
Yeah. No banter, all just choruses every single time.
And speaking of rotating songs in and out, I want to know off the top of your heads, is there any songs that you guys both personally really love from your catalogue that you've never really been able to play live? One standout one that you're just like, I wish we played that, or I wish we played that more.
There's a ton of them.
I suppose with the amount of albums.
I mean, no. A ton of Vultures came to mind first. I love that song.
Sometimes we're excited about a song, we get a lot of great fan feedback, and it just doesn't quite roll the way we think it would live.
Fully.
So Slim Pickens is a good example of that.
Yeah.
It's one of our more popular songs, but doesn't get the live reaction. So sometimes that's a little frustrating. You want to play it, you want to play what you want to play as well, but you have to balance that out with we also want to have a great show and a great reaction, the fans to be stoked. So we tend to err in that direction. I'd rather play a bunch of hits than.
There's nothing I don't like playing, so it's not.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Means you're working with the right records. Well done.
Yeah. There was some country guy who said, be careful which songs you have hits with, because you're going to be playing that the rest of your career, right?
Right.
It's true.
So, yeah.
You hear bands being like, I don't ever want to hear that song again.
Yeah.
I play it every night. But hey, if you're enjoying them,
Yeah.
Did you hear a lot of bands also have the label stepping in saying, oh, we really think you should release this one as a single, because obviously they want to see dollar signs, and then you're just like, fuck, that was the one we didn't want to release.
Never had that particular thing happen. We kind of know. I mean, we wouldn't put a song on the record if we thought, well, shit, we don't want that to be a radio.
For sure.
We wouldn't have put it on the record. We usually know there's 2 or 3 or maybe 4 songs that are possible radio songs. Then we discuss it with management, and then we have a really good friend who worked radio for years. He's retired, but he's still great. He still has his opinions. And so we
put the feelers out.
Yeah, we run it by them, and then we run it by the label as well. And as long as it's one of the songs that we kind of we thought would go, let's do it, let's try. So
I want to know, as the only person in the room that's listened to the album, what's each favorite song on your album? And if you had to cut one song, what would you cut? And what? I know, I couldn't be all nice. I had to give you a hard one.
yeah.
We'll start with the favorites.
If you had to cut one, wow.
Yeah, I know, I'm a dick. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's not a popular question, but we ask it anyway.
My favorite one changes even from time to time, day to day. I wake up with a different song stuck in my head, but Hanging by a Thread is one that always is kind of in there.
Yeah.
So I really like that one.
It's a very Offspring song.
Yeah.
Like, the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, this feels...
If I had to cut one, there's a couple that 3 songs that are kind of similar to me. Light It Up,
Truth and Fiction.
Truth and Fiction, and Fall Guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I would maybe pick one of those just because they're similar.
Sure.
I think all the others are kind of.
That's good
different.
logic.
So
It's a tactical response.
Yeah, Dexter?
Yeah, I need to lay down for this. I mean, you could say, well, in a punk way, I love Truth and Fiction or blah, blah, blah. I guess I would say, looking out for number 1, I'm really into. It was kind of one of the first songs that we thought could be a single that got done, and I was really excited about it, and that really kind of gave us the momentum to to finish the album more quickly than we would have, because we weren't sitting there struggling about like, well, we can do a bunch of punk songs, but what do we got to actually try to promote and stuff. If I had to cut one, I'd actually probably cut Hanging by a Thread, believe it or not. And not because I don't like the song. I love the song. It's just, it's a very interesting and kind of intricate, it's kind of like a journey. And like, in the interest of just trying to get your point across as a band, that's not necessarily the best way to do it. Now, I love it from an artistic standpoint, right? And that's probably why you like it, right? Because it's less formulaic and stuff.
That makes complete sense, and you've answered very well. I'm proud of you both. You've gone through the hard one.
I have no issue with what you just said, and that made perfect sense.
That's how you maintain the friendship. You don't argue about things.
That's right.
We just don't see the argument. That happens after. It just goes, so.
No, honestly, like I get what he's saying, and you know, that's the thing. I know music is always subjective.
Yeah.
And something different songs mean different things to different people. Like, you know, our fans don't necessarily get, you know, what we were intending when we write a song. You know, lyrically or musically, and they might feel it completely different. Might hit them somewhere completely different.
Yeah, it is something with. I was showing my wife your back catalogue last night 'cause she was asking what I was doing today. She's not a big, heavy music liker. She likes a lot of like pop stuff. And as we're going through, she's like, "Oh, I know this song. I know this song." And she realized that she actually knew like 12 of the songs. I was like, they've been around, had radio success, but there's like an accessibility. What I'm trying to say is like, is there a formula used to make punk accessible? Because you've managed to turn a genre that's a bit in your face and not as widely accepted, pretty widely accepted. Even today.
Songs like Pretty Fly for a White Guy, they don't sit alongside your standard punk rock tunes, but they've become so beloved in the punk rock world. And it's just, you know, when you first heard those things for the first time, it's like, oh wow, this is so different.
Let's say for a minute that there is a formula.
Okay.
To taking punk rock. And
I'm listening. Go on. Do you want to write this down?
And let's also say that we know what that formula is. Do you think we'd share it?
Smart. That's the correct answer.
I guess we're not starting that band.
The Offspring. Yeah.
I mean, look, it's worked for you.
You're gonna have to keep your day job.
I don't. You know, I really don't think there is any kind of formula. You know, making music really has to come from your own heart. You have to like the music you make, and then hope that, you know, it resonates with an audience out there. And we've been very fortunate that we've been able to do that.
Yeah.
And maintain relevance. Like I said, you've been around for so long and played with so many bands, you would have seen so many come and go. There's this huge sort of rise of nostalgia music right now. Like you look at like when we were young fest and stuff in the States, where it's just all these bands that had hits 20 years ago.
You know, I know we get that nostalgia, but it doesn't seem nostalgic to me.
Same, it sounds so
you know,
relevant.
and a lot of these bands, they're just young kids.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm 41. These are like my little brothers now, right?
Yeah.
You know, I love these guys. Simple Plan are like our little brothers. We love these guys. It's great to see that. The When We Were Young festival's phenomenal, but it's hitting with you know, all ages of people. It's not just, you know, the fans that were young when those things happened. That's a big show, and all that music I think is as relevant today, you know, as it was then.
Oh, absolutely. Like, and you know, this is not blowing smoke, but you guys have got songs that have clearly stood the test of time. Like, you got songs that have, you know, just completely held their own and stood their ground through multiple changes in direction for where these genres and subgenres go, and people will always come back to those. And not to mention the fact that you can still drop music that sounds fresh and modern, but would easily fit on Ixnay or Smash or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Thank you, sir.
But it is true. There are songs that like, this is an Offspring song. This sounds like, it doesn't sound like you're trying to be something new.
It never sounds like, forced.
And it doesn't sound like you're trying
genuine.
to copy either, which is testament, I guess, you've got your sound.
Yeah, well, thank you. You know, and it is fun to, you know, do a show and then see somebody who's never seen, you know, run into somebody who's never seen us play before and go, God, I forgot how many songs you have. Usually it's other bands that we're playing with, and you know, our crew guys that we haven't seen in 30 years, and I forget how many songs you guys have. Because I knew every song in your set. You know, that's always fun to hear.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah.
Now, look, this might be a tough question because you guys have played a couple of shows. Has there ever been any show where, you know, like you've got one standout negative memory or one horrible thing that's happened on a show, and that was just almost the straw that broke the camel's back, or just something that you never want to relive again?
Where do we start?
We're gonna need a separate episode for that.
I mean,
Yeah, I
all
mean,
kinds of stuff.
yeah. Since we've been playing big, since Smash came out, I don't know. I'll tell you the worst gig we ever played. It's like that kind of question. It's the worst gig you ever played. We played this co-op. It was a co-op at Berkeley College in California, Cal Berkeley, and we played the dinner hour. We actually made money, which was good because we didn't get paid. We had played another gig that evening, I think, at Gilman Street, and we didn't make anything. So we made all our gas money playing this co-op. But we're sitting in the corner, set up in the corner, jumping up and down, trying to rock out. And there's these kids sitting and eating, like college kids, just sitting eating plates. You could hear plates clanking. It was just
Studying
the most
over their team.
disheartening gig ever. It was
Yeah.
miserable. It was a miserable. I think we played like a half-hour set or something. It was just awful.
We can smile about it now, though.
Yeah,
it's
that's
funny,
it. You're gonna do
because-
that about
And
have
it's
that.
part of paying your dues. We played a bunch of gigs where we were, driving cross country, and we played 10 people, and
10 people
but
for years.
Hey, man, I was 10.
We slept on pool tables, North Carolina.
Pool tables. Yeah.
Played shows where there was water leaking from the ceiling and exposed wires on the stage, and just like, fuck, I'm gonna get electrocuted.
Yeah.
This is it.
That's where the story comes
Right.
from.
Actually gonna go out with a bang.
Yeah, you name it, stuff happened, but it didn't feel like paying our dues. That's the thing. It wasn't like
We were loving it. It was all new.
it was an
punk
adventure.
rock, man. That's
Yeah,
punk
we
rock.
were saving up money to go out and do this stuff.
Yeah.
Because, some people had golf or whatever, and this is what we did.
So I want to talk about that versus now. Like I said, playing arenas, like proper arenas. That's fucking so cool. Like to be able to get to that scale, playing those things and work your way up. Does that excite you to be able to, like, we've got more opportunities to bring a big production now, or do you still come out with the same ethos of being like it's still like punk rock? Like when we saw you last time, they had the screen and you did like play along with yourself.
Yeah.
Very fun.
Right.
Is that scale something you want to continue growing on?
Absolutely, yeah. And we also want to keep the audience incorporated in what's happening behind us.
Yeah.
Because when we came up, half the crowd would be on stage at any given point, doing stage dives or whatever, and that became, legally unfeasible at some point.
Right.
But we still want to keep the fans engaged and say, hey, we're here, you're here, we're all in this together. Kind of keep that spirit of camaraderie. So
That's the challenge. You play these little clubs,
Yeah.
and that's what we're
so
comfortable
close.
with.
Yeah.
You're right with them.
Yeah.
It's very easy to be in with them. How do I reach that kid that's now 200 yards away, right?
sure.
How do you keep them involved in? And like I said, it's a challenge, I guess, right, to figure out how to make that connection. But it's kind of the fun of it.
yeah.
At least your arena shows as well, they have better security and stuff, so no one's going to be getting up onto the stage to stage dive, because I would be more concerned as someone in a band, and like you said, the legal ramifications, where the barrier is now
It's a
2
much
or
bigger
3
jump.
times, and then you see some portly teenager come up on stage and go, God damn, I hope he can jump, because he's got to clear 3 meters.
But having been to Australia so many times, I know that there's going to kids that are going to try. There's going to be
they'll
fans
try.
that are going to try, and they're going to make it.
Yeah.
They'll get past security. There will be some stage dives, I'm sure. But just, God damn it, please be careful, you guys. We don't want to see anyone get hurt.
A bigger stage comes bigger show fitness. How are you prepared for that? Because like, covering a bigger stage, it's a lot of moving around. You guys do move around a lot. What's the fitness resume leading into that? Are you like, is that something to consider? Or are you like, fuck it, we'll wing it and see what happens? I know you're into your fitness.
Yeah, he's doing triathlons these days, so
Jeez.
we're not worried about him. Yeah.
I'm a little worried about you, Steve, to be honest. So it's
yeah.
just asking. Don't overdo it.
Yeah. We all do whatever we can to try to stay in good shape.
Yeah.
I mean, because we want to be able to go out there and be on top of our game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a point where you've got songs that people know. We've played enough that we can play the songs. It's almost the musician part is a given. It's almost like you have to become an athlete at some point. Like,
Yeah.
how am I going to survive for an hour and a half on stage doing this stuff when you're screaming the whole time? You don't have a chance.
Yeah,
to
that's
take a
exactly
breath.
it. As the vocalist, you're exerting and moving around the whole
You
time.
actually have to have enough fitness to get through the set, and we're all getting older and stuff too. So
So the triathlon
Yeah,
isn't
but
for
there's-
fun, it's for a necessity.
yeah.
There are medications.
forced to
Speed?
Medications, human growth hormone, Viagra.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Just bridge this to cross.
Yeah, and especially from a vocal perspective as well. Like, are there, as you've gone on, and as you said, you've gotten a little older, and the sets are getting longer. Have you taken any other precautions, or are you always still trying to find ways that you can prepare vocally or maintain vocally? Because there's a lot of stuff out there now. Like, I see vocalists always huffing on the gases and all that sort of stuff, and I think it's for the vocals. Maybe it's just for a good time.
There's sprays and stuff. You got to be careful with some of that. Some of those sprays in the long term can cause damage.
Well, like steroid kind of
I
stuff.
think so. Yeah, like the steroids stuff. Yeah.
Throat gets real muscly.
I mean, besides being more careful with warming up, that helps a lot. Don't really worry about it too much, I guess. It's also about how you structure your set. You can't blow yourself out in the first 3 songs, but got to decide where you're going to place those songs and stuff.
Yeah, and do you give yourself any sort of, need to drink a certain amount of water by this time of the day? I'm not going to talk between these hours.
I don't get that crazy with it, actually.
Yeah.
No.
You do warm ups. I mean, you make sure your voice is ready to go when we take the stage.
Yeah. I mean, to give an example, we used to play during Ignition. Play every night, be hoarse by the 3rd night, and be worse the whole rest of the tour, trashed. And then someone said, you should learn how to warm up. So I saw this vocal coach and showed me some very simple exercises.
Yeah.
And that pretty much cured the problem for about 20 years. and then I kind of found that, sometimes I feel like I'm not quite warmed up by the time the set starts. So I started doing second warm up, like 3 hours before. So I do 3 hours before, and then I do like an hour before, and that gets me to where I need to be. But I mean, that's about as far as I take it. It's not like I don't wear a sign that says no talking.
Chalkboard. You got a chalkboard.
Yeah. There's people that do that, right? And,
I mean, it is your job. If you were to do that, no one thinking he was going to judge you because, like, whilst there's still like a big punk energy from you guys, you are professional rock stars. That's a job. If you get up there and you can't sing, you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
So I could understand if you were a little bit of a diva about it.
I've tried it all. I've tried throat coat and
Yeah.
little candies and all that kind of stuff.
I feel like at this point as well, you've been doing it for so long now. It's your body knows that this is something I do, and this is something I do regularly. It's muscle memory. You've probably spent more time singing live and in the studio than most people have spent talking, to be honest.
Yeah, probably.
Which is a wild thing to think about.
Well, I hope there's no end to it soon. We're stoked you guys come back next year. Congrats on the new album too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Genuinely
I hear it's
smart.
incredible.
You should check it out.
I almost put it on the way down. I was like, I don't want to overdo it for you. But yeah, we're excited to have you back next year, so we look forward to catching up then.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully you'll have heard the record by then.
Don't do
this.
I'm one of those old guys that still like Smash is the best album ever.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And it is the best punk rock album of all time. Let's just throw that out there. Anyway, thanks so much, guys.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, that was a fun conversation.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that.